Well, I don't know about all of you, but all I want for Christmas is Greenland. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Whittle here with Steve Green and Scott Ott, and this is your right angle on what the former troll-in-chief and troll-in-chief-elect has been talking about. He's been talking about annexing Canada, which, of course, is just plain trolling and just having fun with people, which some people, of course, are taking seriously. But there's been a more serious discussion about this island of Greenland, which, as you know, is the largest island in the world. But not nearly as large as it looks on maps, although that's not necessarily to our disadvantage either.
Mercator projection sucks.
Yes, but you've got to put a round object onto a flat surface, and so you've got to make your compromises where they come from. In any event, there has been some semi-serious discussion about this, and Steve, I big-footed this topic off of you because I didn't have anything else. This is not entirely trolling or speculative, but I will tell you this. I was born in 1959, same time as Hawaii and Alaska were born as states in the Union. And without question, 65 years has got to be the longest that the United States has ever gone without adding any territory, which we do voluntarily, obviously. We had the Alaska Purchase, which, of course, became a territory before it became a state, and it was called Seward's Folly because, he wasted $9 million on some of the most oil-rich areas on the planet, and idiot, and multiplied the size of the United States almost, nearly by half again. Is there an actual possibility, do you think, that this could happen, or is this just kind of Donald Trump being Donald Trump?
Well, no, there's good reason for it. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but the Arctic is filled with energy and mineral resources, and we're losing the race for it. Russia and China are winning.
Absolutely, Russia and China.
It's a very big deal. And you don't think of China as being able to reject power in that way, but guess what? They can now. We got a real worrisome situation on our hands now, and buying Greenland would go a long way to helping us reclaim some of that. Not only that, but it's not like we haven't bought stuff from Denmark before. We bought the Virgin Islands from them about a century ago, if I remember correctly, for $25 million in gold coins. Right?
I wonder if we could get Greenland for that.
Hey, I think
we're willing to pay
since then.
$1 million.
Yeah. What I love about this, though, is and to answer your question, I think the longest time we went between adding states, Arizona was admitted to the Union, I believe, in 1912, and so
That's
I think
correct.
between 1912 and 1959, Alaska and Hawaii was the longest we went without adding new states to the Union. And if people want to be Americans and they're good at it, I say let them in. Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, maybe. Who knows? Not the whole Canada. We don't want the French. We don't want Ottawa and all the progressives. We don't want British Columbia. We already have California, thank you very much. But those oil producing...
We'll just have the big American panhandle from the middle there,
Yeah, those oil producers in the middle of Canada, maybe they'd like a Second Amendment. We'll talk. But what I love about this idea is Trump is bringing some of America's swagger back.
Yeah.
And that's been missing for 4 years. And before that, it was missing for 8 years. And we are a swagger country, right? We started off, some pilgrims and some farmers and stuff, and we filled up. We filled up the best part of this continent in nothing flat. And then we're like, look at Hawaii out there. And, and we've lost some of that. And we're getting some of that back. It's great. In fact, my Harry Sisson, that young Democrat online operative, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
That pasty-faced
he does all this stupid stuff on Twitter when he's not waiting for his balls to drop. He looked at this thing from Trump, and he said, Trump wants to take over Greenland. This is total insanity. Well, no, it's not, for reasons we already got into. But my buddy John Gabriel, who you might know from Ricochet, and he's got a new World War II submarine thriller out, and he's a former submarine officer, so I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I've got a copy. John Gabriel said, the Trumpire shall extend from Greenland to Panama. Then Imperator Baron will press toward Tierra del Fuego. And this is what you're supposed to be doing with this kind of a thing. You're supposed to have some fun with it. And John got some great replies on this X thread. Somebody said, we should take Baja California. That's some nice real estate. And here's a practical suggestion. We can eliminate Trump's tariffs on other countries by absorbing all other countries.
Bingo.
Win-win, right? And my favorite, because John is Orthodox, and so this reply must have just tickled him pink. I need to ask him about this. Somebody said, Panama will serve as a staging ground for the inevitable retaking of Constantinople.
Constantinople, that'd be great. Yes, that's right. We will. The Turks must be finally pushed back.
So, yes. Remember last week when I mentioned how much fun we were having with all the gloating?
Yeah.
We haven't stopped. America's got some swagger back, damn it, and we've needed this.
Well, Scott, the good news is obviously
Canada.
Yeah, well, we obviously wouldn't conquer Greenland because we don't do that. When we absorbed Alaska and Hawaii, those were the people of Alaska and Hawaii had to agree to that, at least in a majority.
Yeah.
Now, the good news about trying to buy Greenland is there aren't but 250 people in Greenland, I don't think, and you throw $1 trillion at a problem like that, you make a lot of people like really, really wealthy. Plus, we could also say we could also move you someplace warm. But the reason I'm in favor of basically going to make Greenland a territory and then a state, which I'm seriously think would be a really good thing for the country, because as Steve said, the battle now is for the Arctic. The Russians have a lot of gear on the North Polar ice cap. And the Chinese too. So it'd be nice to have a forward base there. But the main reason I'd be interested in absorbing Greenland is because of the Greenlanders themselves. This just goes to a fundamental theory of mine, Scott, and I defy you to disprove it. My theory is that cold people are sensible people, and I've never seen that disproven.
I think that's the cold hard truth right there.
There you go.
You can't
Look at your
dispute that.
Minnesotans, nicest people in the world.
I mean, there are a couple of interesting things going on here. And number one, Steve mentioned natural resources. Those would include rare earth minerals, which have gotten more and more important when it comes to technology. President Trump wasn't mincing words. He said it's an absolute necessity that the United States have ownership and control of Greenland. So he's not just like nibbling the crust here. And his comments on Panama basically had to do with the incredible fees going through the Panama Canal. But I thought there were two interesting things. The guy who's in charge of Greenland, whatever he's called, the Emperor High Commander of Greenland, he basically said, Greenland's not for sale, never will be. And then he ended that by saying, we must not lose our long struggle for freedom. So Greenland is treated as basically a protectorate of Denmark. And that seemed to be a jab at Denmark. Basically saying, they're under the thumb of Denmark. We are still struggling for freedom. And I think that's an opening for President Trump to say, look, we would like to help you in your long struggle for freedom. You don't want to be under the thumb of what do they call the people in Denmark? The Danes?
Danes.
Yeah. And Denmark has a king. They can't be free.
So you don't want to be under a
serfs.
monarchy. Yeah, exactly. The other thing is, when they talked to Denmark to get a reaction to this story, the spokesman there said, we're looking forward to working with the new administration in Washington. And so I thought, okay, I think that's enough. That's enough to work with if you're a negotiator, which Trump is, if nothing else. And to be able to have one side saying, we want freedom, and the other side saying, hey, we're looking forward to working with the new administration. Money talks, of course. I do love the trolling of Canada, and especially how he refers to Governor Justin Trudeau. So, of the 51st state of the union. Some of this, I think, is legitimate strategic concerns as more ocean opens up during the cyclical melting and freezing in Arctic areas. There are more commercial channels through the oceans. It's a shortcut from
The
Russia.
Northwest Passage.
Yeah. So to get here. And so I think all of these are reasonable things to talk about. And by the way, even though we're all exploding about this now and it's trending everywhere, Trump first mentioned this back in 2019. So this is not some new idea that he suddenly dropped out of outer space. This is something that he's thought about before and will continue to be a concern. I don't necessarily know that we're going to end up with anything like, okay, now we've got these additional territories, but I do think we could wind up with really strong alliances that shift the balance of power and the geostrategic importance of Greenland and the control of that area toward liberty and away from the possibility of Russia flexing its muscles there.
Well, let me put a out-of-the-box suggestion into this serious problem. I think you could probably find a way to. I mean, Denmark's not really doing anything with it. I'm sure you could find a way to find a price that they would take. The problem would be convincing the Greenlanders, of course, to become vulgar Americans, and I don't think that this is something that Donald Trump should be negotiating. Frankly, I think he needs to hand. No, seriously.
No, I
think
agree.
I think he needs to hand this off to Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder, because Les Grossman can get directly to the Greenlanders and just say, right now you're Greenlanders and you live in this frozen wasteland and you're doing absolutely nothing, but you could be a player. You could have a Gulfstream jet. Every one of you could have your own Gulfstream jet. Come on, player. Lots and lots and lots and lots of money. Lots of money. Are you player? You player. Just go at it like that, man, and just keep at it. Don't give up. Give them 6 or 7 years of the Les Grossman treatment with the fat hands, little dancing. I think you could turn 51% of the population. And I think it would be a great birthday present for the United States. We probably won't get it in time for Christmas, seeing how we're recording this on Christmas Eve. But we might be able to get it in time for the nation's birthday, which is only a year and a half away. It's 250 years for the big old US of A. And I genuinely wouldn't mind seeing a little more territory voluntarily added to this republic of citizens who vote themselves into a union and only once have tried to shoot their way out of it. By the way, this would be a lovely opportunity for us to wish all of the members out there, especially, and everybody who's a Right Angle fan, just the most Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, which starts on Christmas Eve as we record this today. If you guys have anything you want to add, just Merry Christmas to our friends
Merry
out
Christmas.
there.
Merry Christmas.
To all of you, from all of us, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Right Angle.